What's up? This video is addressed to the youth of South Africa. We have just experienced several events which make this video relevant. So let's start off with the obvious. It was Women's Day yesterday, Thursday, and that was an international event. Also, this week there were shutdowns of our university here at Nelson Mandela University due to rape incidents, which also occurred at Rhodes University. So we find ourselves looking at several things. Okay, we're talking about gender roles, we're talking about standards and ethics. These are things that are going to be mentioned in this video, as well as taboos here in South Africa, things that people don't really talk about or engage on a basic level or a base level amongst each other. And those are things sometimes like politics, like the land issue and things like that, just because people don't know how to feel about it or how to react about it, or even just how to tell each other about these things. Many things that people feel, they just feel hurt about some things, but they stay there. They use that to fuel them whatever they do, instead of just talking about it. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, okay? And it is going to be released on all of my platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So yes, if you do want to respond to this video in any way, I will let you know how to do that at the end of this video. Comments are always an option. So here we are. I'm addressing the students and the youth of South Africa. If you're outside of that population group, that's alright, because these are just basic ethics which I feel everyone should just, listen to and consider at least. So here we go. First of all, let me address the men, okay? In South Africa, I feel like there is a men culture, if you had to call it that, which to some extent it violates women on a social level, right? Not all men, okay? Not all men. I'm not saying that all men are like this, but I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it, where if there is a girl who's really, beautiful in many senses, maybe even if, I consider her beautiful because of, how I've come to encounter her or what I've seen in her. But people will just remark, specifically men will remark, when I don't do anything more than just talk to her, like I will quote here, "Why didn't you smash her?" unquote. Now, that is very derogatory, and I do apologize for some of my audience if they did find that offensive, but it's true. That's a reality here in South Africa, where many times you assume, if you're talking about sex, like you go for it because, why not? Like me and my background, I am a Christian, and I believe that you save it for marriage for many reasons, right? I don't want to do a whole preach on this right now, but some people don't even know, why are you just saving it for marriage? Okay, really off the bat, I'll have to say, because you're adding value to it for that first time. I'm pretty sure you've heard this a lot of times. Also, because sex complicates things like crazy, man. Sex complicates things, and everyone who's had sex knows this. It just complicates things, unfortunately. But in the right environment, I think, where there's that bond of agreement, we love each other and we're going to stay with each other for life, well, then it doesn't complicate things that much, because you've mentally prepared for it, and it is just that way. Now, like I said, I don't want to get into much of a preach of this. Okay, so I was talking to the guys, yes, guys are normally the ones who persist when it comes to that fire, if you know what I'm talking about. And naturally the way it goes is unless she stops me, then that's where it goes. But I want to address the men right here. First of all, you are the one who should be making the decisions and taking the responsibility, and that is not pushing boundaries prematurely. I just want to let us think about that for a bit, because it's so important not to push boundaries prematurely. Sure. And then the same is true for both of us, because we're equal, right? And we've both got equal responsibility. I do feel that. Maybe that's a bit extreme. I don't know. I do believe that we've both got equal responsibility, and it's not extreme, actually. It's exactly where it should be. It's also the girl's responsibility to be upfront, both of us actually, upfront in the beginning, define the relationship, DTR. It's so important, and also to put yourself in places which are not conducive for starting that fire. You know what I mean? A third person always helps, okay? A third person always helps who's like neutral, and obviously I don't wanna go and talk about things that are just too much right now, but for good reasons. Have a third person around, okay? For good reasons. Now we're gonna go right on to talking about what? I mean, people don't like talking about sexuality too much when it comes to sexual orientation. Like if you're not straight. Me, for example, I am straight. So this is why what I was talking about before is from experience. But I know that many people feel persecuted when they come out, when they just be honest about who they are or how they feel they are, and yeah, like if there are environments for people to talk about it, just to talk about it, maybe they don't want to feel that way, but there's still nowhere for them to talk about it. Oh, there are so many things that are just held up inside. If it's feelings like feelings from the past, or if it's feelings of confusion, all of these things just need to be spoken about on a ground level. So that brings me right up to the end of this video. It leaves us with what can we do in response to these situations, maybe social taboos, or where we are. I'm talking to the youth, remember, I'm talking to the youth right now, because we are the ones setting an example for everyone who is to come, the future of South Africa. This is who this concerns, but if everyone else wants to watch, they can. There are three things regarding any situation, if it is political, or if it is if it's sexual or confusion, or if it's these things which I've mentioned in the video. Number one, educate yourself, right? Research it, know what's going on, speak to people about it. Don't be isolated. I encourage you to know what's going on. Then number two is to get involved, okay? Contribute. Talk about these things. Encourage discussions about these things from a neutral basis, obviously. And you want to be encouraging. You don't want to be persecuting, because that's just gonna, defeat the whole aim of the object. Don't persecute. We wanna hear where people are coming from. That's the whole point. Also tied in with number two is don't be proud, okay, but seek guidance. This is something I see way too often, and even I've experienced it myself, where you feel like you know what the answer is, but there are people who know other things. Maybe you are right, maybe you are wrong, maybe they've got the right answer, maybe they've just got another way of looking at it. But it is always, I do believe it is always good just to hear where someone is coming from, and from there decide, what you feel you're going to base your actions on. And lastly is to inform others, okay? Keep it going, right? Educate others. Let people know, the things which you've learned, because in many situations people are also asking, and they haven't like encountered someone who has encountered the same things and overcome those things, or gotten clarity on those things, if I am making sense. This country is in need of leadership. We are in need of leadership. Upright leadership. We need people with morals and with standards, right? I do believe this country would be a lot better, like a lot, if the people who were in governance were actually upright and all of that. So in conclusion, I want to say, first of all, if you want to know how you can actually get involved wherever you are, I'm a student, so I'm talking like when I provide means of doing these things, I do speak primarily to the students. So if you are at a university, or even if you're not, if you want to know how you can get involved, please do get in touch with me at Sheldon Zam on Instagram. But I want to call out everyone who is at Nelson Mandela University, or even in Port Elizabeth. If you are interested in heading up some of these things, myself and my society, United Christians at NMU, along with all of our associated societies and churches like Father's House and Oxygen and Every Nation Church, and it gets very long, and then there's RUC and Family Christian Fellowship societies on campus. There are many Christian organizations getting together to provide platforms for people to talk about these things. It's actually starting next week on Monday. So that's the end of this video. If you want to come, please do. If you want to come, let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. But that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned.